Hi everyone. So my dad was driving me back to my college, but we just ran out of gas while in San Francisco, right in the city, and the car just kind of puttered out at a random spot on our way to the gas station. So we had to park very awkwardly in this very inconvenient location, and so he just left to walk to the nearest gas station 3 or 4 blocks away to get gas and maybe bring it back. I think I see him, but as this was happening, cyclists are kind of like going by and they're like slapping the car, or like I've heard someone like yell through the window, "What are you doing?" And there's really nothing I can do because I don't have gas with me. I think my dad's coming, but I wanted to just talk about something. Never mind. Okay, so that was 5 days ago, and as you can probably guess, it all ended up fine. My dad brought this bucket of gasoline, and he had to press on the nozzle with some force. It was some safety feature. And only after you press it does the gasoline actually come out. So we poured it into the tank, the car started up again, and we left. It was fine. But it makes me wonder, why don't car manufacturers make it so that when the car is low on gas, instead of having this generic beeping alert, why not have it be a human voice saying in an audio clip, "Your gas is low. Your gas is low." Because I think that we humans have been trained to tune beeping out. We hear our refrigerators beep. We hear our fire alarms beep. We hear every little device beep when they're low on battery. And I think we're so used to it, we just don't listen to it. So my dad has this habit of not putting his seatbelt on when he first starts driving, and I have to remind him as we're moving, like, "Hey, put on your seatbelt." But the car will also beep because of that. So it very well could have been that when we started driving that day, the car was also beeping because it was low on gas. So two beeping effects. I'm not going to know what's going on. Yeah, there's a little icon that probably was like flashing on the dashboard, but there's like 50 icons on the dashboard. So if I had sat in a car where there was this human voice alert that said, I don't know, "Carrie, go fill up on gas ASAP because you have 2% remaining," I would have listened. I mean, it wouldn't have been an enjoyable human voice alert to listen to, but at least it would have made me aware, because humans have not so great memory. And I know no car manufacturer is going to listen to a silly little YouTube video, but I'm just outlining what would happen in my fantasy world where things make more sense to me. Over the years of doing YouTube, I felt like what I've realized is the human voice is the best and fastest way to communicate information, because that's how we've evolved. And that's why when I want to text a lot of stuff at once, I'll still use my phone's speech recognition, because I can speak sentences faster than I can type them in any medium. So I think this goes into the same idea of, if you use the human voice, people will be more willing to listen, and we might avoid situations like what happened 5 days ago. And it could have been much worse if we had gotten stranded on a long highway like Route 66 and there was no gas station in 5 miles in either direction. We might have had to call AAA and get the car towed, and that's a whole headache. So that would have been avoided if, customers or drivers were reminded when the gas is low, right when they turn their car on and like turn that key. You know how it goes. So that's just what I wanted to talk about, how I would design a car if I had the power to, which I don't. Yeah. And the second thing I want to mention, this is completely unrelated, but I just want to tack it on to the end, is related to these coronavirus data visualization videos I've been making on Abacaba. So I've made 3 of them, and for a lot of Abacaba viewers, especially the ones who have subscribed before this happened, they think that's too many. So the reason why I've made so many is because the story keeps changing. The numbers keep growing. And I feel like when I made the first video, there was only 1 death outside of China. And I don't want to say I downplayed the severity of the pandemic, but I was definitely leaning more on the side of don't panic. The numbers are not as high as a lot of other pandemics in the past, like swine flu. So, don't go and like drink bleach or buy a ton of toilet paper. I was trying to say, just be alert, not anxious, or whatever that saying is. You know what I mean? But I felt like as the numbers were growing, I wanted to paint a fuller picture of what was happening. And I also felt like there were so many flaws in the way I was showing the data. I wasn't showing it divided by country. I also wasn't taking into account recoveries. So I wanted more chances to sort of redeem myself and give people a better picture of what was happening. So that's why all those updates came out. But for a lot of these older subscribers, people say stuff like, hold on. So there's a comment here that says, Carrie, in the last coronavirus video, this is the last video I'm doing on this. I don't remember ever saying that. I can imagine how someone in their own head would be like, I hope that's the last coronavirus video he ever makes on this. By the way, I'm working on a lot of other non-COVID-19 related videos for Abba Kappa, so if you don't want to watch those, if you don't want to watch the coronavirus videos, just don't. And then it says, Carrie 1 week later, nothing. So like I'm implying that this video was me backtracking on that statement, which I don't think I ever made. And then there's replies to that comment saying, views make Carrie happy. Some other people have said, Carrie is evil for trying to monetize a pandemic that's killing people. So, I mean, I don't really know what to say there, because these videos don't get monetized because YouTube classifies coronavirus / COVID-19 as a sensitive subject, and sensitive subjects don't get good monetization because advertisers don't want to advertise on them. So I'm not really making any money on these videos. I've already explained why I'm making these videos, because I want to give a more accurate story of what's happening. And I also just felt like there's a lot of misinformation online, but there's also kind of a difficulty in accessing information. And by that I mean, suppose you want to see the data of the Ebola trend and the COVID-19 trend, and you can find both of those on separate web pages. So there's no misinformation there, but it's very hard to combine them in one place if you have to constantly like flip between two web pages. So the goal of the first coronavirus video I made was to put them in one video to help people see it all at once so it was more accessible. So that's not really like me trying to tackle misinformation. It was information that was already out there. I was just trying to make it more accessible. So yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say, just that I'm not in it for money. I'm not paid by any government to make this. I'm just someone who is a fan of data visualization, but also data visualization that tells an accurate story in a way that people can understand easily and don't have to work hard to understand that story. Yeah, which is why I try to like aggregate a bunch of sources and put it into one place. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say. Yeah, Stanford classes are all online because of this outbreak, which I think is good to protect people's safety, because college dorms are kind of like a petri dish. Petri, whatever. It's like 50 teenage kids, okay, maybe early 20s, whatever, in one building, and they share a bathroom, they share a kitchen, they share beds maybe. So it's such close confinement that I feel like it had to happen. But anyway, because of that, I feel like I have a long spring break because I don't know when the campus is going to open up again. Also, the entire Stanford campus itself, where the dorms actually are, is all within a couple square miles. So that's actually quite small. And the fact that there was one confirmed case at Stanford, it was an undergrad student, and I hope they're doing well. I don't know who they are, even though we're both Stanford students. That means that all undergrad students were within a mile of that. So it's definitely a good call to have everyone leave the campus. But yeah, it's definitely a very hectic time. Everyone's kind of moving back and forth between the campus and here and like home because they have to move their belongings, but they say like don't stay for too long because that's dangerous. And then my brother also is moving and stuff. So I think it's just a tumultuous time. And yeah. Okay, I'm gonna end the video. Bye.